So welcome back to sunny Scotland and the latest episode of the Vantage Point video blog. Well, it's middle Sunday at Wimbledon, so I can take a break from watching wall-to-wall tennis and do another Vantage Point video blog. And the news, I haven't started a new Lego video, but I have got myself this, the Lego Music Video Maker. So you'd think that would make it easier for videos, but unfortunately, when you do make a video, I think it can only stay in the Lego app. You can't download it. So what can you do with it? But it is a boombox, so that will make quite a cool background on a future video. And this chap here surely can join the Vantage Point Lego band. He's way cooler than anyone else we've already got. So apparently you use your smartphone or something to do stuff with it. So I'll have to investigate. In more Vantage Point style news, we were in the studio last weekend mixing songs from our new album. So I have lots of exciting footage of a mixing desk with sound coming out. So this was the first time this year that I've seen Murray, and he's not changed much. We did actually do some recording. There was a tambourine put onto one track. But for the most part, it was just mixing the songs, and we made pretty good progress, though we didn't quite finish over the weekend. But we've got another Tuesday afternoon booked in, so hopefully that will get everything wrapped up, and then we can start releasing some more tunes, and then the album later in the year. Well, in the last episode, we talked about the list as for the story of the song, and in this episode, Liam's guitar riff is playing the list. So here he is. For this episode, we're talking about one of my favourite Vantage Point tracks, the song Sail On, which is on the Devil on the Shore album. This song, along with the three others we recorded at the time on our first visit to Split Level Studio, was the only time we did any recording with Ali in the band. He had joined in autumn of 2004 when Park left to go to university. This song and Gemini, hadn't played at all with Patrick. The other two songs we did at that time in the studio, Grip by the Throat and Too Much Work, I don't think we'd played live, but certainly Patrick had been playing them in rehearsal. The Grip by the Throat EP that these 4 songs went on was the last time I made CDR copies up to send out. I would sit and copy them on the computer, print out the artwork, cut it out, fold it up, put it into the box, and that was how I did it back then. When we got into the Daredevil on the Shore album, which came next, we got them professionally manufactured up, and the Daredevil on the Shore was the first thing that went on digital media. So the Force, the Sail On, and the other 3 songs, what we did with Ali never made it to digital media, because when we were doing the Daredevil, we got myself and Liam re-recorded all the guitars for those 4 tracks, so they were consistent with the rest of the album, which had been recorded with Liam. Anyway, as for the song itself, obviously it was written by Murray. He was, and I assume probably still is, quite influenced by Glenn Hughes and Mark III Deep Purple. Both Hughes' high voice and his bass playing, so I think he always wanted to do a song in the kind of vein of Sail Away from the Burn album. And then One Day in the Horoscope was the lines, you're more like a today you're more like a steamship and less like a sailboat. And obviously that hit a light bulb in his head, and he thought, and went on to write Sail On. And yeah, that was Sail On. I don't think there's a lot more to say about it. It was one of the 2 songs on the Daredevil album. We got Matthew from Bombscarin to play some keyboards on, the other being 24 Hour Breakdown. He shared the lead solo with Liam on Sail On, and it's one we've played it live a few times, but it kind of needs backing vocals, and I'm not capable of doing those backing vocals. Ali could do them, but to me, not so much. So the recording with Ali still exists. I should maybe put it out as a bonus track on one of our future releases. It's worth thinking about anyway. So for today's trip into the archive, we're going back to 2004 and our 3rd ever gig, which was at TV8 in Edinburgh, and the song Bitter. And if you do vaguely recognise this song, it's because after a rewrite or 2, it ended up on the Too Many Eagles album as Global Delay. Here it is. Well, anyone that knows me will know I'm a bit of a Status Quo fan. So for the top 5 of something in this episode, it's top 5 Status Quo albums from the 1970s. And I know you're thinking, surely that's just the top 5 Status Quo albums. But I might like to do a top 5 of the 80s sometime. Or maybe even the 90s, that'd be a laugh. So this was the first album I ever bought with my own money. And I remember it got a scratch on the Breaking the Rules. So when I used to play it, I'd sit there very attentively, and just when it got to the point, I would try and nudge it as lightly as possible so it would just go over the skip and play the full song. So much so when I got the Rocking All Over the Years compilation in 1990, the song sounded quite odd to me when it didn't have that skip. It didn't have the bit where it kept playing the same thing over and over. But I did get used to the proper version. Anyway, to the list. At number 5, we have Dog of Two Head, which is a nice vinyl. Nice gatefold, sorry. And it's not got too many famous Status Quo songs on it, but Umleiten and Something's Going Out My Head and Someone's Learning are just fantastic long tunes with amazing lead guitar solos and guitar riffing. I know they're not quite associated with just being 3 chords, but it's plainly not true. They've got some pretty good instrumental passages on this. And then Railroad, which has got the quintessential Quo shuffle on it. At number 4, much later in the 70s, Whatever You Want. The band are a bit more concise and sophisticated by this time. Obviously the title track is overplayed now, but if you actually just think about it, it's an amazing intro. And then it's just got some Who Asked You and Your Smiling Face are just great pieces of hard rock. As on side B is Come Rock With Me and Rocking On double bill. And then I love breaking away with the line about being old boys and old men in young boys' clothes, or whatever it is. I'll tell you, there's lyrics here. Old men in boys' clothes, that's going to be on a joke. So in 1979, they thought they were too old. And look at them now. I was thinking what number we're at. Number 3, Hello, which has obviously got Caroline and Roll Over Lay Down, the famous ones, but of course the piece de resistance 4,500 times. 9 minutes and 50 seconds of Quo's finest rock boogie. Number 2 is Quo were at the absolute peak, 1976, so much so they didn't even need to put their name on the front of the album. Just picture them in jeans. And that's what they were all about at this time. Highlights of this album is it's obviously a mystery song. And then it opens with the heaviness of Is There a Better Way? But the number 1 Quo album of the 70s, Quo. This is the one that was dominated by Parfit and Lancaster writing, and it's a shame that didn't continue. But an opening salvo of Backwater and Just Take Me, the instrumental break and drumming on Just Take Me is immense. And then it ends on Slow Train, which is nearly 8 minutes, and it contains a drum solo in the middle and a jig. So much more do you want? It did come with this poster, which is a bit brown and not that great looking. I don't remember getting this with the vinyl. If I maybe got it else at some other time. There was, I forgot to mention, my copy of Hello comes with a poster as well. Or came with a poster. I used to have this on my bedroom wall as a teenager. So there we go. That's the top 5 Status Quo albums of the 1970s. So as I'm tidying up my albums here, I will say thanks. That's the end of another episode. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe. We've got the little Daredevil, where is he? Logo down here. You can hover over him and the subscribe button will come up. Use it wisely. I think I'm finished.